Good morning. Let's let people get on here. Let me turn my curling iron on. Gosh, it's taking a minute for people. There they are. Hey guys. If you message me and tell me this is a train wreck, I already know it. It's a train wreck. It's been a train wreck. But I don't know how to break the habit. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I feel like if this is the worst thing I do, then I'm pretty good. That's how I look at it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I wish I could sing. I feel like if I could sing, like I wish when my mom put me in dance lessons that she would have put me in singing lessons when once she realized I couldn't carry a tune. I feel like I could make it somewhere, but like I couldn't sing. And so like when you dance and act and stuff like that, you have to have a voice with it. And she should have realized that I was a train wreck with my voice. And she should have said, Judy's a train wreck. I need to put her in voice lessons. But I don't know why she didn't. But she should have, because I sure can't sing. No smell. Okay, let me check in. Y'all check in. How are y'all doing this morning? Are y'all on the struggle bus? Like, what are you dealing with? You have stress in your life? Like, we all need to check in first because I'm taking my glasses off, so I'm becoming blind. Kayla is juggling her daughter this morning because this is her daughter's last day of school, and she's a fifth grader. And that just means like next year she's going to another school. And so she's doing all these graduation things. So Kayla is kind of in and out. So Chris is in charge today. It looks like. I don't think Karen's here. I hadn't seen her. So it is Chris. Chris is the man of the hour. That's cute. All right, let me check in. Okay. How do I check in? Let me think. So I have a subject that I want to talk about because a lot of you that are older are telling me that your kids are bossy and they're telling you what to do and they're trying to be your parent and all that. So I kind of want to address that. And so yesterday I was putting my thoughts together because I was like, I don't know if I'm educated enough to talk about this because I mean, my kids are a little bossy to me, and I'm 50. What was that? My kids are a little bossy to me. Like the things that they boss me with is, Mom, we've literally talked about this 45 times, and you're asking me the same question as if I'm already developing dementia. You know, so like they do that to me. They'll say, Mom, I really wish that you would slow down. I think you're doing too much. I'm like, why do you care? You know what I mean? Like, as long as I ain't bugging you, why do you care what I'm doing? So I can sort of relate, but not really. I really can't. The only thing that I can relate to is my situation with Larry and how I feel as a stepdaughter taking care of my stepdad. But like a lot of times when you're in situations, I tell you guys that you have to get out of your shoes and get in the other person's shoes. So I was trying to, as you guys message me and want me to talk about that, it's hard for me to really understand because I'm not really going through it. So the only thing I can do is try to get in Larry's shoes. So when I was breaking things down, trying to figure out how to talk to you guys about it, and I was in Larry's shoes trying to feel how Larry feels, I thought, bless his heart. Like I am it made me aware of how I'm acting. But I have that on my head because that was the subject I'm talking about. But I also have my brother on my head because I can't remember. What is today? Wednesday? I think it was like 4 or 5 days ago. My brother got bailed out of jail. And I feel like that's where I need to talk about. Because my brain is there, and I'm trying to talk about what you guys are messaging me about, and I feel like I'm like this. I'm like, I need to talk about this, but my brain is over here. So like, how do I talk about this when my brain is over here on this side? So I figured I'm just going to take a deep breath and just let God lead me, because I really feel like there's a lot to talk about that we as backup dancers need to, in order for us to dance, listening to these situations and how I deal with them. You help me, and I hope to help you figure out how to not let things tear us down, and how when things that we can't control us, and we find ourselves worrying, and we find ourselves stressed, and we find ourselves not wanting to go out of the house because we're worrying about this situation that we can't control. Those things are sitting it out. But in order for us to dance and be healthy, I feel like we have to put tools in our pocket to figure out when these situations happen, what we need, what tool do we pull out to deal with this. So I'm a little bit all over the place. So bear with me as I try to figure out what I'm talking about today. My watch is still broken. Thank you, Aunt Cheryl. I turned my phone off. I turned it back on. I tried to pair it, and it will not work. I tried to turn it back to factory settings. I've tried to restore it from where it used to be. It ain't working. And I'm thinking, my watch is so important to me. It's like part of my life, because I just I depend on my watch. Like, my watch is something I depend on. So I'm sitting here going, okay, today Kayla is taking Larry to get his hearing test, because he's not hearing good with his hearing aids. He's saying "huh" a gazillion times, so he's got to go get a hearing test and get his hearing aids adjusted. So Kayla's going to go do that today, and I thought, okay, I'll have the day to myself. Kayla and I did cleaning yesterday. I cleaned out part of the coops. She cleaned out part of the coops. So I think today I'm going to try to go to Verizon and get my watch fixed, because it is driving me crazy. Okay, let me highlight on the animals real quick. I don't know how Shishi's babies are staying inside her. Oh my gosh. I feel like it's another Dee Dee situation where people think that I need to call the vet and she needs to have a C-section and all that stuff. I'm not getting beat up like I did with Dee Dee. I think it's because Dee Dee looked deformed and Shishi doesn't look deformed. But like, people are being nice. They're not beating me up with Shishi. But some people are going, you've got to call the vet. she's in an emergency situation and all that stuff. She is fine. She walking around, she's running, she's walking around the farm, she's eating her treats, she's everywhere. Like, she's not in distress. It's just not time. I had my figures wrong. Imagine that. So I it what I see here, and I just told Chris this, but so the month of June, I have libraries a lot. I have like 10 libraries in June. And so that requires me to be off the premises. And now I wish that I wouldn't have booked libraries, because now I'm thinking, okay, we're getting into June and I have all these mamas pregnant, and I'm going to have to leave Kayla here in charge. And I'm thinking, what if Kayla has to deliver? Like, because I had to deliver Tater Bug, and I'm like, is she going to be okay? Will she know what to do? But she probably, Dr. Duckett knows more than me, probably. But I just worry about them all. And I'm thinking, you watch. They're all going to like go at the same time, because Georgia Lee was bred on May the 23rd. So, in Alpaca life, she can have the baby anywhere from today, or really a couple of weeks ago, but she can have a baby any day now. But also, an alpaca can freeze her pregnancy. So she could go today, or she could go after May 23rd, because that's what she did last time. So I'm thinking, what if I'm in a library and she goes into labor, and Georgia Lee goes into labor, and the goat goes into labor, and Kayla's here with Larry by herself. Poor Kayla. Kayla's going to have to get a bonus. Oh my gosh. So I am a little kind of like going, sometimes I can't say no when people ask me to come places. I don't know. In my heart, I'm like, I need to go make a difference. I need to go to these libraries, and I need to read to these kids and tell them my story. And so, like, in my head, I don't say no. But sometimes I'm thinking, I should have said no. I can't do it. I got too much on me. But for some reason, it's hard to say no. So I have not been out there this morning. So I could go out there every morning. I go out there. I'm like, am I going to see babies? Am I going to, like, is somebody going to go into labor? So as of right now, okay, we have a turkey sitting on eggs. We have a duck that's sitting on eggs. Both of them, I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly when they're going to hatch, but it's going to be soon. I do know that. But I have turkey, duck, pigeon, peacocks that are laying. Peacocks. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. My peacock, my peahen, is laying eggs, so she's fixing to be a mom. I have a goat, alpaca, pig, and then Dee Dee. I have 8 mamas, and I'm probably leaving somebody out, but I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be hard. But this is what happens when you have a farm and it's springtime. There's babies everywhere. It's just what happens. And I think about what's going to happen next year, because next year, we'll probably have another calf, but that's it. Because unless I decide to breed Georgia Lee again, I'm just going to see her demeanor. I feel like Georgia Lee being pregnant helps her. It helps her learn trust. She loves being a mother. It really helps her a ton. It changed her when she had Tater Bug. But as far as the piglets, this is the last piglets. The boys have been fixed, and I'm so thankful. So I've kind of things will be different next year. I have to tell y'all this real quick before I get into preaching. Yesterday, my phone rang. This guy goes, hey, I can't remember if he's officer with the animal control. And I was like, oh, God. Am I in trouble again? Like, what the heck? But this guy was from animal control in Birmingham, and he wasn't from animal control in Coleman. And so, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go to YouTube and watch my video. But anyway, I was like, oh God, here we go. What am I, a terrible mother? Because she's pregnant. Like, what am I? Who's calling me on me? But the guy goes, hey, my name is such and such. I'm from animal control in Birmingham, and I got your name and number from the animal control in Coleman, because we have 15 roosters that we had to confiscate because the roosters were in the middle of the city, and I had to go take them. And Birmingham is a kill shelter. So if I don't find homes for these roosters, they're going to have to be killed. Will you help me? And I thought, now that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And I said, yes, I'll help you. I don't want the roosters murdered. Yes, I will help you. So kudos to them for caring enough about these roosters to try to find them homes versus cull them. And he began to tell me, he goes, what can you help me with? And I said, any farm animal. I mean, I can't really help with dogs and cats because I don't know. I mean, I don't have anywhere to put them. I said, but when it comes to an animal that's a farm animal, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, and I will do my best to try to find them a home. I can't always bring the animal to my farm because I don't have a big enough area in my farm to put someone, but I can find you a home pretty quickly. And I can interview the people to make sure it's a good home. So I was very thankful that I was able to partner with the animal control in Birmingham, because I partner now with animal control in Coleman and the shelter. And I thought it was funny when they came to my farm and was having to come when they came because they were told that my animals were dead and that I didn't take care of my animals. I was like, oh, wait till they see this. I said, just wait. come see how terrible my animals are taken care of. Come on. We'll go out here. And when he walked out there he said, because the person said that my alpacas were not taken care of. I'm like, dude, I just spent $600 to have them professionally groomed in this cute haircut. Like, and you think my alpacas are not taken care of? So he walked out there and he was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. But they already knew who I was because I work with the shelter, rescuing farm animals. So they kind of chuckled when they found out that I don't take care of my animals because they already knew who I was. So anyway, but they had to come out here and assess things when they get phone calls. But I'm very excited to be a part of now 2 animal controls so I can help, because sometimes they find pigs in the city and they find, because pigs are not supposed to live in the city, or roosters or whatever. And so then they have to go and get the animal. And so I'm glad to be partnering with them to try to rehome them so they don't have to be put down. But he told me, this was so sad. I kind of wish I didn't know this. But he said that they usually pick up around 100 dogs a day. And Birmingham is a kill shelter. I don't know what qualifies a shelter to be a kill shelter. I'm not really sure, but Coleman is not. So he said where they go and people surrender their dogs. Like, I can't take care of them, or will you come get them? So animal control goes to get someone. There's a dog roaming the neighborhood or whatever. He said they pick up roughly 100 a day, and 100 a day is put down. They're euthanized. He said, Judy, it's awful. And I thought, God, we need more dog rescues. So I know there's people when they want to get animals, they want, I don't know, like not a rescue, but like a registered animal or something like that. But God, there are so many animals in the shelter that need homes. And it just, when he told me that, I was just like, I really did not need to know that. And then I was like, do I need to help you find homes for dogs? Like, what can I do to help you? But I thought in my head, Judy, there's one of you. You like, where I want to save them all. How do I do that? But I thought in my head, there's such a need for animal shelters like that can help rehome. But it costs, when you see sanctuaries and you see animal shelters, they're all nonprofits. Y'all, it's so hard to pay for everything. It is so, I mean, when you go rescue an animal, you have to have proper shelter. And so you're building, kennels, and have the food and the vet bills, and, you got to go get them fixed and all the things that. So I'm just going to say to y'all, this is just off my heart. But if you're a person that gives, like if you're a person that wants to give to help, please donate to an animal shelter. Like, and if you don't want to, donate food or whatever, I mean, if you don't want to donate money, you can always, like, if you're getting dog food for yourself, grab a bag of dog food and take it to the shelter, or pee pads, or even the ducks. I'm a big duck person, and go feed the ducks at the local lakes because they're not getting fed probably, and go feed them. Go reach out to these animals that are not taken care of, or people that are trying to take care of these rescues and they're struggling. You see so many shelters, like animal rescues, that go out of business because people don't give to their nonprofit and they can't afford to continue to do what they do. So if you're that person, go to your shelter in your area and just walk in the door and say, what can I do to help? And it may not be financially. They may go, I just need someone to help walk the dogs. I mean, it could be something easy, and it doesn't, if you're like, I don't have the money to help a shelter, you have your body. You can go physically help them walk the dogs or love on the dogs. The group home that comes here every Wednesday, they go to the shelter every week. What am I doing? They go to the shelter every week, and all they do is love on the cats. And it's even coming to my farm. When people volunteered on my farm and they're like, what can I do? And I'm like, love on my rabbits, brush them, cuddle them, let them go free range, like let them go eat grass. Those things are important. So if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a way to dance, that is one way you can dance, is go to your community and go to a rescue and say, what can I do to help? They need it. I don't know if you're good at marketing. You can help them do a fundraiser. You can, whatever you're good at. Help these shelters. Help these animals because they need it. Okay, I don't know how I got on that subject. I got to sit here for just a minute. Let me think. All I'm going to say about my brother is, how do I put this? My brother was in jail for 3 months. He has addiction. and he got himself in trouble. I'm not going to go into details, but he got himself in trouble and he got bailed out Wednesday. And I was told that my brother is doing really well and that he was making sense with his talk. My brother was in psychosis for a long time, like 7 years. He's been in psychosis. And so I was told that he was doing really well and that he's not paranoid. He didn't seem to be paranoid. And I was like, oh God. So me and my oldest brother, we were just like, oh my gosh, this is like an answered prayer. And so me and myself, I reached out to my nephews and I was like, how can I help y'all? Because my brother has no money. My brother lost everything. My brother doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a place to live. He doesn't have a dime to his name. He's lost everything. So when you get out of jail and you're in that situation, you need help. So I reached out and said, what can I do to help? And so I made a donation to help. And I felt so good in my heart. I was like, oh my God, this is such an answered prayer. My brother's back, oh my gosh. And so my oldest brother and I we've been smiling a lot lately. And so I'm not going to go into details, but to make a long story short, my brother is not doing well at all. It's terrible. So what happened, which this happens a lot, is we get our expectations up and we start saying, oh, prayers are answered maybe a little too soon. I don't know, but my oldest brother was in a bad situation with my brother yesterday, and things are just not good. So my brain is there, and I don't really want to embarrass anyone or tell details because it's not good. So my brain is over here, but I'm trying to pretend like nothing's wrong with me, and I'm trying to talk about this situation over here. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been where you're like trying to pretend like nothing's wrong and everything is a total train wreck and you can't talk about it because it's too bad to talk about, because it's almost like crazy talk? And I am trying to realize I'm not giving up, but at some point you've got to come to acceptance that God is in control and whatever happens, happens. I just pray that everyone around is safe. That's like, I'm at the point now that I'm praying for the people that are around, that live around him or that are in his, like, that's how I'm feeling. Like, I'm like, okay, I would rather see my brother gone versus an innocent person gone. Like, it's just not good. And I have to go in my head. I have to it's almost like this doesn't happen to good families. This happens to, this happens to families that are a train wreck, that, mom and dad were a bad influence. And, like, this doesn't happen to people like me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not good. So my brain is kind of all over the place because of that. So, I just ask that you pray. I don't know how to pray, to be honest. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't even know how to ask for prayer requests. I don't know. I just pray that I ask you to pray for the innocent people. That's where my heart is right now, is to pray for like, I don't know how to say it. Pray for the innocent people that are in contact, that he may come in contact with. I pray that he ends up back in jail because he's not safe. And so I'm hoping that he will go back to jail and get off the streets. So that's what I ask you to pray for. Just pray for him to get off the streets. That's that. I had to think about it. That's what I need you to pray for, that he will get off the streets again, because he is not safe at all. Okay, let's switch the subject, because I really don't want to get there, because you know what'll happen if I go there? I will sit it out today and I will not dance. So sometimes when you have like really stressful things going on in your life, on things that you can't control, distraction is your best medicine. As a matter of fact, I put that on my personal page this week, because when all this unrolled, I was like, what am I going to do to take care of myself? Because everything's been so bad. I was like, what am I going to do to take care of myself? And I feel like every week I am in, there's so much chaos that goes on, whether it be myself, Larry, my brother, my kids, whatever, me and Shane. There's always something. There's always something that you're facing in your life. And you have got to constantly go, what do I need to pull out of my pocket? How do I handle this situation? How do I not go in left field? How do I not go get on the struggle bus or go to Mars? Like, how do I stay grounded and know that God is in control? Like, how do I do that? What do I need to pull out of my pocket to take care of myself? Because the only person I can control is myself, and how I respond to this negative behavior. What do I do? How do I make a difference in someone else's life? Like, what can I do? And I will tell you, this is why you see me wanting to reach out to sober living facilities. This is why I am you hear me talk about addiction all the time. All the time. This is why, because I'm faced with it every single day. I've never done drugs a day in my life. So like, I don't understand, right? It's like a foreign thing to me. I'm like, that seems so stupid. Why would you do that? Like, it seems so stupid, but I've never been in that person's shoes. So I don't know what it's like to crave a drug. I know what it's like to crave to be skinny. I know I do unhealthy things, are used to try to be skinny. And with having an eating disorder, I try to be okay in my own skin. And if like I sit down and I have this big fat roll, I'm like, Judy, it's not the end of the world that you have a fat roll. Like, it's not the end of the world. I have to constantly coach myself every day about the eating disorder. So I can only imagine what it's like for someone that's addicted to drugs, and how difficult it must be to know that this is toxic for me and this is not good for me. But why do I crave it? Like, why did God make me crave? Like, why did he make me this way? I can imagine what goes through their brain, because they don't want to be that way. You cannot convince me. You cannot convince me that anyone goes, oh, when I get older, I want to be an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? Or when I get older, I want to be a drug addict and spend my life in jail. You cannot convince me that anyone thinks that way. The drug chooses you. The second you make, I don't know, when you're young and you're not listening to your parents, and your parents just like, just say no to drugs. And then you let somebody convince you, I don't know, to smoke pot, let's just say, okay? You let somebody convince you, and then the next thing you know, you're over here doing heroin or you're over here doing meth. And then the next thing you know, you've lost everything. You can't convince me that someone makes those choices in life. You don't choose to be homeless. You don't choose to ruin your family from alcohol or drugs. You can't convince me that someone does that. I feel like they are choices. You do make choices to try something, but your body craves it is an addiction, and you can't stop it. And you've got to have help to stop it. You can't convince me he's doing this to himself, just ruining his life, just keeps making bad choices. No, at some point, the drug owns you. The drug or the alcohol chooses you. At some point, I realize that you choose to try it, but the addiction gene or whatever's in your body is choosing you. And it's bad. But this is why you see me. I want to reach as many sober living facilities as I can, because I feel like my animals have something to offer them. For maybe 1 hour, they can escape the trauma that they're in an addict. Because can you imagine, let's just stop for just a minute. Because most people that have never done drugs a day in their life, they can't relate. If you walk down the street and you see someone strung out on drugs, you're like, oh my God, they're trash. You know what I mean? But let's stop for just a minute and let's talk about things that we probably all struggle with that you can relate to. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. I'm gonna party like it's your birthday. Sorry. It's your birthday. And you have cake and ice cream in the house. And you are a sweet fanatic. Okay? Do you know how, if you're a sweet fanatic, do you ever say that someone's baking chocolate chip cookies in the kitchen, and you're smelling the chocolate chip cookies and your mouth is like watering because you can taste the warm chocolate chip cookies that come directly out of the oven, and you can just you're like, it's almost like you're foaming out the mouth because you're dying for those warm chocolate chip cookies because you're a sweet person and you smell them. Okay. You know how when you're on a diet and you go to a birthday party and you're like, okay, I can't eat any cake. I'm on a diet. And you're sitting in the corner trying to talk yourself into not eating a piece of cake because you're on this diet because your doctor said you have diabetes, and you're like, okay, I cannot eat cake. I have diabetes. And you're in the corner and it's almost like you're sulking. You're like, I know me personally, when I've been on a diet and I go to a family function or it's a holiday and I realize that I can't eat the cake, you're like, you are Debbie Downer at the party because you're like, and everybody, think about this for a minute. You're sitting around the family dinner table. Everyone's eating cake, and you're over there trying to be good because your sugar's high, and you can't eat cake, and you're the odd one in the bunch. And maybe they don't know you're diabetic. Let's just say they think you're on a diet. Let's say you don't have diabetes, and you're over there. You're the only one in the house that's not eating the chocolate cake. And everybody around the table, it's Christmas, and everyone's eating their chocolate cake, and you're sitting in the corner going, like, you're like hating your life because you can't eat the cake. You know the struggle that you have in your head? I'm going to eat the cake. One piece won't hurt me. No, I better not eat the cake because if I eat one piece, I'm going to end up eating 100 pieces. Okay, Judy, just eat one bite of icing. Just get the taste on your tongue, and just that's not going to hurt you. No, if you eat one, you're going to end up eating the whole cake, and then you're going to ruin your diet. And then you went from being disciplined, losing 10 pounds to gaining 15 back because you've gotten yourself out of control. You know the battle that goes on in your head? It's like It's like you've heard of the devil and Jesus on each side of your shoulder. Don't do it, do it, don't do it, do it, do. And you're sitting at the table and everyone's eating the cake and you're like pissed off because you're on this diet and you're like, this is not fair. And then people go, you're sitting at the table in your family and your family goes, one piece is not going to hurt you. You're not that fat. And that's the devil, Jesus. Don't eat it, don't eat it. Okay. That's what I picture someone with addiction like. I need to quit drinking. This is not good for me. Oh my God, it's 5:00. I'm dying for a beer. Okay, I'm just going to drink one beer tonight. Oh my God, I'm sloppy drunk. And then you wake up in the morning and you have a hangover and you're like, I really need to quit drinking. You know what I mean? I picture the same battle as the battle of you sitting in the corner, not eating the chocolate cake at Thanksgiving or Christmas. And everyone's telling you, it's just one piece. It's not going to hurt you. Just count your calories or what, what I'm saying? And it's like you have this temptation of people, around you trying to get you to eat the daggum piece of cake. And you're like, I don't want the flipping cake. Just shut up. Like, I'm trying to be good over here. Quit tempting me to eat the cake. And it's almost like you get in a bad mood because you're at this party and you can't eat the cake. And I feel like that is what my brother goes through, is like, okay, I know this is not good for me, but I can't stop. I can't stop. And at this point in your life, you've taken it to the extreme and you've lost everything. And now you don't even have insurance or money to go get help if you wanted help. So what do you do when you have no money, you don't have any insurance and you can't go get help? Even if you want to get help, you just give into it. I'm just going to be a drug addict the rest of my life. I'm just going to be fat the rest of my life. I'm 53 years old. I'm too old to worry about my bikini figure. We do the same thing. You see, I'm too old to change my life. I'm set in my ways. I ain't trying anything new. I'm too old for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost as if we do the same thing, even though we're not addicted to drugs or alcohol. We do the exact same behavior as they do. The only difference is our drug is chocolate cake or whatever, and their drug is meth or heroin or alcohol or whatever. There's no difference. Like, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes people, want to judge people and say, my family would, my kids would, like, if you got kids that are 10 years old and you're like, oh, my kids will never do that. I will spank their tail. They would never leave this house if they did that. I would put my foot down, because when you see your little toddler on your shoulder or your little toddler running around, you can't picture that they might struggle with drugs or alcohol. Like, your brain doesn't go there because they're this cute little kid that's running around. I'm sure my mom never thought that. You know what I mean? Like, but you never know. You never know. And this is one thing I'm going to say. I'm getting on the subject of drugs and alcohol, and I know I talk about this a lot, and it's because I deal with it all the time. But I feel like, now I'm no doctor. I'm just Aunt Judy, right? So, like, I don't know. In my mind, in my opinion, I feel like it's genetic. I feel like addiction is genetic. I feel like it's in your genes. And sometimes, I know when my kids were young, I'm just going to say 16. I don't remember how old. I remember their friends' parents would let them take a sip of alcohol. Or, you know, they would, you know, if you had a beer sitting there, take a sip, take a sip. And in my head, I think if that parent knew that that kid was going to grow up and be an alcoholic or a drug addict, let's just say, I believe they would have thought differently before letting their 16-year-old take a sip of their beer. Because a parent that has never, or someone that has never been in addiction, their brain doesn't think that their little 16-year-old is going to be a meth head, let's just say. And meth head sounds so judgmental. I don't know what to say. Would be addicted to meth. Meth head is judgmental. I'm sorry for saying that. But in their head are alcoholic. They don't think in their brain that 16-year-old drinking one sip of alcohol and liking the taste of it, then when they get away from home, they're craving that taste and they're going to do it behind your back. And then there's these parents that go, if you're going to drink, this was my mother. This was my mother. If you're going to drink, I'd rather you drink at home. I'd rather you drink here and not drink and drive. That was my mother. Because she thought she was making right choices, because in her brain, she was like, I know they're going to do it. Me, Greg, and Bobby. I know y'all are going to drink. You're teenagers. You're in high school. So if you're going to drink, I want you to we're going to do it here. We're going to do it here in the house, because you're not getting on the road. You're not going to put someone else's life in risk. You're not going to drink and drive. You're not going to get out and get yourself in trouble. If you're going to drink, you're going to drink right here at the house. Okay. For me, oops. I got fireworks going off. For me as a kid, I am not about to ask my mother to go get me a 6-pack of beer and drink at home. I'm the kid that's going to do it behind her back. Like I'm the kid that's going to a party and getting drunk and then going to pretend like I'm not drunk when I get home. That's how I was. My brothers, on the other hand, would get drunk all day long in front of my mother. I am that kid that is not doing that in front of my mother. That was me. And I know you're probably like, wait a minute, Aunt Judy, wait a minute, Aunt Judy drank. Listen, I am not innocent. I remember this one time I was probably 19 or 20. And me and my friends went to this bar and I got drunk. And I woke up the next morning on the side of the road with nobody around me. And I woke up and I'm like, where the crap am I at? What happened? Oh my God. What the? And back then we didn't have cell phones. Okay. So I had to go inside the bar and remember a phone number to get someone to come pick me up, because I had passed out. My friends left me. Now, I don't know why they left me. I don't know if they couldn't get me in the car. I don't know if I got in a fight with them. I don't know, but I was literally laid out downtown Birmingham in a bad area. I'm passed out on the side of the road. So if you think that I haven't been there or I'm a goody two shoes, no, I have. Okay. I'm not perfect. I have been through it, but for the parents that say, if you're going to do it, you need to do it at home. I get where they're coming from, but see, what parents don't realize is your kid could be an addict. And it starts there. And where the parent thinks that they're doing the right thing by letting the kid drink at home because they're thinking that's the best alternative, is better than drinking and driving, or my kid being laid out in downtown Birmingham drunk on the side of the road. I can see why parents do that, because in their brain they're thinking, well, I'd rather Judy be at home and get drunk versus being in downtown Birmingham passed out on the side of the road. I can see that. I can see where their thought process is, but nobody thinks that their child is going to struggle with addiction. And then what happens is when the child goes to an addiction center, let's just say, or some sober living facility, and they have to dig the roots to figure out why they're an alcoholic. And then all of a sudden the kid goes, the counselor says, when was your first drink? When did you drink? And you as a parent are sitting there, and the kid goes, well, the first time I had alcohol was when I was 12 years old. And then the parent is like falling out on the floor going, 12 years old? 12? Mm-hmm. Mom and dad had alcohol downstairs in the basement. And me and Timmy Joe used to go down there and drink the alcohol, and mom never knew it. And you're, as a parent, sitting there going, are you kidding me? You did what? Because in your head, you're thinking, my kid's 12 years old. I can have alcohol in the house and they're not going to take it. Or this can happen. You have pain medicine in the house because you had surgery, and you have a teenager in the house, and you're not thinking in your brain, you're not thinking that, you're not thinking in your head that your kid would ever go steal your pain medicine, right? Because your kid doesn't do drugs, you know? And what you don't realize is it may not be your kid that's stealing your drugs, but your kid's spend the night company is on the scan because they're a teenager and they're looking for your pain medicine. So if you're a parent, I don't care if you think your kid would never do it, or your kid's friends would never steal your medicine. I'm here to tell you right now, you're lying to yourself. And better safe than, maybe your kid never has done that, but better safe than sorry to lock your medicine up in a safe. If you have children in your house, I don't care what age, lock your medicine in a safe. I'm getting on the subject of this. This is not even what I was supposed to be talking about. But I just think that in your head, you think it's never going to happen to you. Whether it be a family member, your best friend's kid, whatever. At some point in your life, you're going to deal with somebody that's in addiction. And even though, let's get off this kid subject, you know, you got friends over to the house, and y'all were having fun, and I don't know, you're having a 4th of July party, and you got your medicine in your cabinet, and you're like, somebody asked to go to the bathroom, and you're not thinking in your head that they're going to steal your medicine, because that doesn't cross someone that's not in addiction. That doesn't cross our brain, is to try to find medicine in someone's cabinet while you're in the bathroom. Like that, for someone that doesn't struggle with addiction, that doesn't even go through our brain. But for a teenager that's in the middle of having fun and getting high and all that, when they go to your bathroom, oh yeah, they are. They're like scamming your drawers. So listen to me. If you are a grandmother, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, the best place that your medicine can be is in a safe. I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes saying that. I just know what an addict thinks like, because I have it in my family and I know what they think. And I just, as a parent, your kid is watching every step you make. And as a parent, that's so hard because we screw up all the time, right? My God, quit watching me. I'm a train wreck today. Like if you're sitting here, finding yourself not being able to handle stress well, and your kids are watching that, right? And they're going to mimic you. They are. They're going to mimic you. And as a parent, it's so much pressure on us because we have to live such a perfect life because we got little eyes watching us, Okay, I'm going to switch the subject a little bit because so many of you, especially on YouTube, have sent me emails about your kids. What time is it before I start? Oh my gosh, is it already 8:00? Oh, okay, I'm going to make this quick. About your kids treating you like you're a kid. Yesterday, I was scrolling through Facebook and I came across this picture of this missing guy. And he was an elderly man and he was missing. And I was like, because, when that comes on, you're like, what's wrong? Why is he missing? And it's usually because of dementia. And I thought in my head, man, like that's one of my fears is that, like if I leave the house and left Larry alone, because there's been situations that have happened because I'm open to the public and people come into my house and people come to my door when I'm not open. And if I'm not here and Larry goes to the door, he's going to answer the door and then it's not going to be good because it's happened before. And so I could see where people my age that are taking care of their parents are over, because I feel like, because Larry says all the time, you can leave me home alone. I'm fine. I can take care of myself. Like, Judy, you don't have to be up my butt. And I can see where he probably feels like these people that are reaching out to me, and he's probably like, Judy treats me like a kid. She's sitting here babysitting me, saying I can't stay at the house alone. And, she treats me like I'm some kind of child or something. So I was trying, when you guys sent me these messages, I was trying to think about how I feel. And I was thinking about when I had children at a young age, I remember how protective I was. And, like you worry about SIDS, and like you find yourself when you're a new mom walking into the baby's room all the time and making sure they're breathing and they're not like on their stomach and like their nose, you're paranoid of losing your kid. You don't want them to choke. So you're cutting their hot dog or food up really small because you worry about choking. And as a new parent, you find yourself worrying a lot. And then you're like trying to balance. How do I work? How do I pay for daycare? How do I pay for doctor copays? You worry about money and all that stuff. And I was thinking about that as a mother when you have children. And I was thinking about where I am today. And I had the same worries about him today as I did when my kids were young. I find myself, if he is falling asleep on the couch in some awkward position, I'm like, is he breathing? I find myself looking at his stomach going, is he breathing? Oh my gosh. And it was almost like I'm mimicking the same things as I did when my kids were young with him now, my dad now. And I'm like, okay, I can't leave him alone because if someone comes to the door, he's there's no telling he could get robbed. Like, I have to be here at all times with him. And he's over here going, Judy, I'm fine. And I'm like, dude, you ain't fine. You have no idea. But I find myself being very protective of Larry. The same thing that I felt when I first brought Corbin home from the hospital, and I was going into the room every couple of hours to make sure he was breathing, and nobody was keeping my kid because I didn't want anything to happen to him. Like, I was very overprotective. And I find myself as a 53-year-old daughter that's taking care of her parent, I find myself mimicking the same things. And when I saw that post of the guy lost, I thought, how many people my age that have parents that are declining worry about things like that? Their family member walking out the door and being lost. Like, that could be your biggest fear, is like, I mean, how scary would that be if I went, let's just say, to Huntsville to go shop and then left him alone, and then the next thing you know, he's not in the house and I can't find him? That's scary. So I was thinking about how I feel and how overprotective I am. And I was thinking about your children and how they're probably feeling just like I feel. And they're very overprotective of you. Like, Mom, do not give your money to anyone. Dad, do not answer the door to strangers. Do not talk to strangers. Mom, you think you're talking to this guy and he's your boyfriend and he's in another country. Like, you're getting scammed. Like, as a child, we're very overprotective. And that overprotection comes across as being bossy. So as an older person that is watching me, you're going to have to break it down and see what your kids are trying. Like, they're coming across as bossy, but what are they really trying to tell you? You need to break it down to go, okay, my daughter is bossing me around like she is my mother, and she is not. But when you break it down, what she's really trying to say is, Mom, I am so overprotective of you. I would die if anything happened to you. And it's coming across as bossy, but I freaking love you. You are my mom. You are my dad. You are my everything. And instead of saying that, they come across as a know-it-all. And it's not fun to sit and listen to someone trying to tell you what to do with your life. So now I tried to get myself in Larry's shoes to figure out what he's thinking. And I can see where it must be so difficult to go, you need oxygen. You need to be in a wheelchair. You need a wheelchair ramp. You need a walker. You need a caregiver. You're not living at home. You're not going to have your checkbook anymore. Can you even, for someone that is not going through that right now, can you imagine how difficult it is for your kids to take your checkbook, your house, like everything away from you? To give up your independence? Can you even go get in your parents' shoes for just a minute? You work your whole entire life, and you raise your kids, and then it flips, and your kids take care of you. And it's like when reality sets in your head, and you're like, okay, this is not what I thought. I've worked my whole life for this. Are you kidding me? Like, I worked this many years, raised this many kids for my kids to tell me what to do and have everything taken away from me. It sounds awful. When I get in Larry's shoes, I can only imagine what he feels like. He worked his whole life and has retirement and can't, if he wants to go buy a car, he can't. Because I got this robot of a daughter that says you don't need a car. Well, dude, I'm going to tell you something, Judy. I worked my whole entire life, and if I want to buy a flipping car, I am. Can you see the struggle? But then, you know how I told you, like, when my kids were young, I was trying to balance working and paying for daycare? I'm doing that now. I'm trying to work Sneed's Farmhouse and worry about Larry and financial reasons. Like, oh my gosh, okay, what can we cut back? What can we do? I feel like I'm the same little 20-year-old with little kids trying to pay for daycare because I am trying to overprotect his money because I don't want to run out and I want to make sure that we're spending all the money right because I'm like, the last thing I want to do is to run out of money and something happened to Larry and then Shane and I can't take care of him. So if you're that person that wrote me saying that your daughter or your son is being bossy to you and you hate every minute of your life, listen, you have got to break it down. And you're going to every time you get in your head, that bossy little biscuit, if she says one more thing to me, I'm going to scream. She is not telling me whatever you're thinking in your head. As soon as you go to outer space, like you get on the struggle bus because your kids are driving you crazy, and then you go to outer space, I need you to pull the tools out of your pocket and go, pause, take a breath, take a breath. This smart little girl that I raised, what is she trying to tell me? Okay, she sure is a sassy pants. She's 53 years old and she ain't nothing but a sassy pants trying to tell me what to do. You have got to break that down because the little sassy pants girl is trying to tell you, Mom, I am so overprotective of you. I am so scared that you're going to get a scam. Like, I'm scared that someone's going to scam you out of money. I'm so scared to leave you alone because I freaking love you. She's not saying that. She's coming across as a little sassy pants. But you, as a backup dancer, has to go, okay, I need to break this down to figure out what these kids are trying to tell me. And it may be that you need to have a conversation with your children to say, listen, I need to tell you how I feel. I'm having to give up all my independence and I feel like I cannot breathe. I am so sad because of X, Y, and Z. I feel like I am losing everything and I need y'all to be a little bit gentle with me because I'm not feeling all warm and fuzzy inside when you guys are taking my checkbook and telling me I can't live by myself and telling me I have to get a caregiver and all these things that you're telling me. I'm not feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. I think communication is the key. I think that you need to tell your children in a calm way how you feel. But before you open your mouth, you need to pause because the only person you can control is yourself. Once you pause and break down what your kids are trying to tell you, you're going to feel so loved inside. They just don't choose the right words to tell you. But that happens with me at 53. Shane doesn't always make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. He makes me feel scared. He makes me feel scared a lot. And he makes me feel that I'm going to be homeless. But really, is it him doing that or is it me? I'm doing it to myself because I get triggered by these things that he does to me. And it's really me that can control that. But instead of controlling that, I go to outer space and I get myself all jacked up and tell myself all this stupid stuff that's not even true. Same thing with you. When your kids are being a sassy pants, you're telling yourself they're going to rob me of my money. They don't care about me. All they care about is themselves. They sit me over here in the corner and tell me to shut up, be quiet, give me a walker. Like, you tell yourself all that stuff, but stop for just a minute and break it down. Is that really what they're trying to say? If they didn't care about you or love you, they wouldn't talk to you. They would just check out and be like, Mom can figure it out herself. But when they're involved in your life, there's things they're trying to tell you and they just don't use the correct words that you need to hear. These are things that you need to hear. I need Shane to say these things to me, and he doesn't. And so he sends me to a trigger place because he doesn't say the things that I need him to say A, B, and C, and he doesn't. So that's when I have to go, Because I'll start going, he doesn't love me. He doesn't care about me. All he cares about himself. He doesn't love me. He's selfish. I can tell myself all this stuff. And then I find myself over here. But then when I have to pause and go, you in la la land, Judy, stop. And I break it down and go, oh, wait a minute. I was in an emotional mind and I was allowing myself to think things that were not facts. And you are in emotional mind when you start saying, my kids are sassy, my kids are bossy, my kids are this, or my kids are that. You've got to pause, break it down. They're not going to say the right words that you need to hear. Shane is not going to say the right words that I need to hear. Your friends are not going to say the words you need to hear, because we are over here thinking if you would say this to me and don't talk like this, we would not have this fight right now. But you're a sassy pants and you come across as smart aleck. You can't fix that. All you can fix is your brain and how you perceive your children and how they're taking care of you. Only you can control your thoughts. If you allow yourself to sit on the couch and go, my kids drive me crazy, they're sassy and they just freaking tell me what to do all the time, you're going to be absolutely miserable. That is called sitting it out. To take care of yourself is number one, to pause and break it down. Number two is distraction. Go get yourself involved in something. There are senior citizens that go to breakfast every morning. There is clubs that you can be. There are travel clubs you can be in for seniors. There's exercises class for seniors. There are so many activities in your community for seniors. Get out of your kids' business and quit depending on your children for happiness and go make yourself happy. Get out of the house. Go get active. Go get active. Come in here at 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's being active. If you're the type of person that can't get out of the house, showing up here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is not sitting it out, because you're learning the tools to put in your pocket to dance. That doesn't mean you physically have to get out of the house to be active. You can be active right here, but let me stop you for just a minute. Are you the guy or girl that sits behind the scenes and never comments? Are you the one that just listens and doesn't get active? If you are, chances are your life will change when you get out of your comfort zone and go, hi, my name is Cindy, and I've been a backup dancer for 2 years now. And I'm the girl that sits behind the scenes and never comments. In my life, I am not able to get out of the house because of X, Y, and Z. And I really need friends. That is dancing. So today is Wednesday and you have choices. I hope that I said something that can help you. Your choices are, you can sit it out or you can dance. And today I hope you dance. And don't forget, I'm the operator that you can call anytime. I'm your connection to the party line. I will see y'all Friday. I'll let you know if we have babies today. Bye.